already know that both my parents passed away early this week. My mom passed away on May 3rd, and then my dad passed away on May 4th due to COVID complications in the Philippines. And we've been doing novena for the eternal repose of both my parents. So we've been doing that 8 o'clock here, Canada time, Eastern time, and so that my family, friends, and relatives in the Philippines could join in. It's 8 p.m. there. Okay, so we would do it. We've been doing this, I think, for 5 days now. And so we either have a mass or we do a rosary and chaplet, and then we do the novena. And then after that, there will be words of remembrance. So friends, siblings would share. And so they were sharing about my mom and my dad. And for me, I wasn't surprised of what I've heard about my dad. Okay? My dad, for those who do not know my dad is very extrovert. He's very extrovert, and he's very friendly. One of his friends was sharing that when he would walk in a street in the Philippines, it's just like a 20-minute walk, but he would walk for 1 hour because every time he would stop and would see somebody that he knows and then chat. That's how friendly he was. And he's very funny, a good sense of humor. When there's a party, he's the life of the party. But aside from that, he's also very prayerful. Very prayerful. At our home, we have an altar there and all the different statues. Buddhist, Catholic, I think they practice syncretism, something like that. And I think they want to make sure that all the bases are covered, right? In case, whoever is the right God, everything is covered. So he would pray. He very, very prayerful. I remember when I was living a sinful lifestyle in high school and in college, and then I would go party, and he would wait for me to come back. He was the one who would wait for me, and then he would pray. And then for me, I would feel guilty, right? Okay, I have to go home. But there was one time, I came home 7 o'clock. I got drunk. I came home 7 o'clock. He saw me, and I pretended I just started my day. So I just started leaving. I told him, I'm going to somewhere, right? And I think I owe to him my conversion. My dad. So that's my dad. So my mom, when people were sharing about my mom is very introvert. The exact opposite of my dad. A woman, a few words. And so when people were sharing about my mom, I was just surprised. Wow. Of her generosity, of her thoughtfulness, of her willing to serve, of her giving without expecting anything in return. And so here's a picture of me and my mom. You see there, at a very young age, I already love my food. And so my mom, as I've said, she's very intelligent. I think she graduated summa cum laude from her accounting class. She's a CPA. Summa cum laude. Very intelligent. And I think one of my sister, Karen, who lives in Mississauga, got 80% of her intelligence, and the remaining 20% got split up with the other siblings. So if you see any intelligence in me, I attribute that to my mother. And so what happened there? So, another good quality of my mom is that she's very good with business. Very entrepreneurial. And she would very well sell watches, cooking pans, distilled water machine. And I think she could even sell ice to the Eskimos. That's how good she was in business. Okay? And, but also, my mom was very hardworking. I remember when we were growing up, we were in great financial difficulty. And my dad had to go abroad to a different country because of our financial situation. And my mom was left behind to raise 6 children. And we were sent to a good Chinese Catholic school, okay? High school, university, and she worked hard. She was a hard worker. In fact, my mom was confiding to one of my friends that one of her regrets was that because she was so busy providing for our family that she kind of neglected us, like maybe emotionally or something like that. And but you know what? Over the years, she tried to make up for it. Whenever we would talk over social media, over Facebook, she would always be very concerned with me, and also my other siblings. When I was undergoing some health issues, like she would really be very concerned, and also like she would ask me like, "Do you have enough money? I could send you money." It's like, "No, Mom, I don't need money." And also like and she was telling me that a month ago we were talking, and she noticed that I have sporting a new hair, a long hair. And she said, "Oh, you're having a long hair now," because she's used to me having a short hair. I said, "This is my Brad Pitt look." And I explained to her what that means, right? Like, if I have a new haircut, I look like Brad Pitt. And she was like smiling because she loves watching movies, and she's a big fan of Brad Pitt. The real Brad Pitt, not me, okay? She loves Brad Pitt. And she also told me that she watches my YouTube videos. In fact, like she found entertaining my adventure videos, and she watched me purchasing this trailer that is parked right now outside the St. Mary's parking lot, right? And so she was trying to make up for her shortcomings as a mother when we were growing up. And my parents, they don't have a perfect relationship. I remember when I was growing up, there were a lot of fightings. And I think it has to do with the financial stress that we're having. In fact, like when we're in a car, like the fighting between my dad and my mom would be so out of control that my dad would just get out of the car and then just walk. But over the years, their fighting becomes less and less and less. And I think it has to do that, you know, they're learning really to accept one another's imperfection, weaknesses. So there's less fighting. And especially with COVID, my dad likes to go outside and meet with friends, but he couldn't because of COVID. And what happened there was that they're together most of the time. And they spend a lot of time together watching Chinese telenovelas. Okay? And but they still continue doing business. By the way, both my parents, they're a good team with regards to business. My dad has all the connection, a lot of friends, and my mom is very good in selling. So they did well in their business. But they also would do charity work. When a family or a friend or somebody has a need or a birthday, like in this picture, they visited my good friend Jackie last March to give her a cake for her birthday. And that's what I've been hearing from sharing. Like they're very thoughtful. Whenever they visit somebody to help out, or just they would bring pastries or whatever, right? And doing service out of love. And we see here that what I've been hearing is that we're not rich, right? But my parents, they do a lot of small things out of great love. And that's what I admire my parents. Okay? Even the very small that I have, the very few that I have, they would give it away. And not just to close family members, even acquaintances or even a stranger. Somebody's in need, they give without expecting anything in return. And that's why when I was like looking at the readings for today, in our first reading, our second reading, it says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone that loved is born of God and know God." Both my parents, they practice Buddhism, and yet they love. So, indirectly or unconsciously, they know God, right? They believe in Him indirectly because they could only love as they experienced the love of God in their life. God is a source of love. They couldn't love without them experiencing, maybe unknowingly, that they're being loved by God. Okay? Now, that's why in Lumen Gentium, chapter 16, it's a church document. It says there, since the Savior, Jesus, wills everyone to be saved, not just Catholics, not just Christians, everyone, Buddhists, Hindus, atheists, Muslims, the Lord Jesus desires everyone to be saved. Okay? And then this is what in the church document says, "But those who, through no fault of their own, do not know the gospel of Christ or His church, but who, nevertheless, seek God with a sincere heart and moved by grace, try in their actions to do His will as they know it, through the dictates of their conscience. Those too may attain eternal salvation." And that's my hope for my parents. Now, am I saying all religions are the same? No. There's only one holy Catholic Apostolic Church. Church founded by Jesus Christ, where the fullness of grace, the fullness of truth resides. That's why we need to evangelize. We need to share the good news to people. But the Lord gives exception also, right? Out of His great love. To those who would not know Him, could also be saved as long as they love. As long as they love. And my mom, both of them, they love each other. But I'll just share with you, my mom, it was my father who was first intubated. Okay? So my father couldn't speak. And so my mom would go to my father. So they're in the same ICU. So my mother would go to my father and would just really encourage him. Said, hang in there, be strong. We're still going to do a lot of things together. Okay? And when my mom got intubated also, she couldn't speak. You know what she did? She wrote on a piece of paper and asked the nurse, "How is Mr. King?" My dad's name. "How is Mr. King doing?" Right? They've been inseparable. They've been inseparable. And what happened there was that when my mother died, I could just imagine her going to my dad and telling to my dad, my dad's name is Amado, and telling him, "Amado, what are you doing lying down there? Get up, it's time to go." And my dad followed her a day after. Right? It's so beautiful. That's why even though it's hard for us siblings and for us family and relatives to see them go, I know it's the right time for them to go. and they're together wherever they are, right? And so it's a beautiful thing. And I'd just like to quote you from what Saint John of the Cross said. He said this in two ways. He said, love is the measure by which we shall be judged. And he also said, St. John of the Cross, at the evening of life, we shall be judged on our love. Okay? So we will not be judged by our age, gender, color, race, or religion. We will be judged on how much we have loved.